The Bills are in the playoffs again! 10 wins! We did it!
Playoffs! Go Bills!
Bills are in the playoffs. Couldn't be more excited. We have a coach. We have a quarterback. It's week 15. We have 2 more weeks. We might get the division. But we're in the playoffs. And that's all that matters, everybody.
Woohoo! Playoffs, baby! Welcome back to another episode of Buffalo Bills Pregame. It's your host, Randy, joined as always by our faithful producer, Jared. And returning once again is Daniel, here to help us analyze the Bills' victory over the Steelers, a playoff berth, and a big upcoming game with a chance to go ahead in the division, with some other scenarios playing out the next week. But we're going into the Patriots for a meaningful Week 16 game in Foxborough, and we are all excited.
Yes.
So,
even though I'm totally not showing
been a long time since Dan, you've been on the show. What quick reaction to the Pittsburgh Steelers game? What do you think?
Honestly, when I was watching the game yesterday, I was watching with my dad and my mom and everything, and there was never a time, really, when I thought that we were going to lose. Even when we were down 10-7, I just never got worried. My dad he was wondering why I was being so quiet. I was just reserving my judgment until the end, but yeah, it's a huge win. I mean, I like the fact that we not only was on Sunday night, but it was against a team like the Steelers, a team that's been so good for so long, to put them down and to clinch our spot, I think that was really big.
Yeah, I would echo a little bit of what you just said with regard to not being as worried. I was not. Okay, yes, if you look at some of the pictures I posted yesterday, you'll see that maybe I was a little nervous. But, okay, I guess I was nervous. I guess you and I weren't doing the same thing at all. But I guess I didn't think, it was impossible. Like 2 years ago we got in, and since he was up on Baltimore 24-10, I'm like, no, Baltimore's clearly coming back. This is nothing. But this time I was like, no, I think 50-50. I was always 50-50. And I guess I'm just not used to the idea of us getting in this early. I think that's what really
Since
the difference
1991, the last time we
Really?
clinched the
Wow.
playoffs this early in the season, Week 15,
That's
Week 16
incredible.
was 1991. The first time we've had 10 wins since 1999. I mean, it's a historic experience as a Bills fan.
Yeah.
We're talking about decades since we've done so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this might be the first time in a while that Bills fans will have to discuss a meaningless, possibly a meaningless Week 17 game, depending on how next week goes. Week 17, they might, we might see back Matt Barkley.
Yes!
Yeah, no, during the Flutie era, we put in Johnson on Week 17 game 2 different times, and hopefully this does not repeat itself, because one of those 2 times, as we know, they decided, hey, you know what, that Johnson guy looks pretty good against the Colts. Let's put him in the playoffs against the Titans, and we might actually play the Titans the wild card week. Who knows, given how the scenarios are going.
The universe is cyclical, indeed.
Yeah.
So the division is still in play. And
Yep.
first and foremost, we have to beat the Patriots this week. And then we have to win out against the Jets. And they have to lose to Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And not to get ahead of ourselves, but that would be, to have the whole city of Buffalo rooting for Fitz one more time.
Oh, I thought about that, because that might be Fitz's last start. 8 teams. Is he going to make all
He's got
32? I don't
22 more
think
to
so.
go.
I don't think he's going to pull off the 32. He's too old. But so I think it's possible. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Long story short, I would love Fitz as his last act to help the Bills secure the division, because that's something we have not done in 20 years.
Yeah,
Well, more than 20 years.
Yeah, well, more than 20 years.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, please.
I was just going to say, assuming, maybe I shouldn't assume this, but let's say we do beat New England, it'll be a weird kind of dynamic going on December 29th at the stadium, because it'll be we'll be playing the Jets, but we'll also be scoreboard watching. I've never been at a game where I was closely watching another game like that.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's dial it back to the Patriots game before we ruin everything we're going to talk about for next week's show. The Patriots, even though they've lost 2 of the last 3 games and a bit of a skid, are still having a banner season with an incredibly good defense that we struggled to move the ball against last time. Allen has cleaned up his games interceptions-wise. He hasn't had any injury scares since then, now that the Patriots are above a cheap shot or 2, as we all know. So, Jerry, what do you see? What was an obstacle in the last game that you feel that the Bills have most improved? Like, where is the biggest area of improvement when facing the Patriots from earlier in the season into going into week 16?
It has to be the offense 100%. I mean, we still looked scatterbrained week 4 when Matt Barkley came in on that 4th down after Allen was hurt briefly and threw that deep pass. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're missing. And I was excited about Matt Barkley being in the game. Now, there's nothing that would excite me about Matt Barkley coming into the game for an injured Josh Allen. I am confident now that there's a 50-50 chance that Josh Allen could lead us to victory against the Patriots. And the fact that I'm saying that, and I truly mean that.
In New England, nonetheless.
In New England. Because why not? Because we've been one of the best teams on the road.
They have that foghorn.
But anyway, what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, Dan. He talked about our offense for a minute. Let's flip the other side. The strength of the Patriots is their defense. Their offense has been struggling, and our defense is excellent. Are we going to see as a frustrated Tom Brady playing the Bills? Because I don't know him well, but I get the feeling that he really does not like losing to Buffalo because he never does. Do we have a chance of seeing as frustrated Brady as we've ever seen playing the Bills?
So the bottom line is, when it comes to me, when the Bills are playing, especially when they're playing in New England, it's just that Belichick, Brady, they always somehow find a way to beat the Bills. Even the Jets and Dolphins, I feel like, have had more success.
I think it's because they're cheating.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it yesterday during the game. I'm like, they're not going to be wearing their Patriots coats when they're filming the Bills sidelines. They're going to be in regular.
So you're just scanning the sidelines looking
they're
for
going to be their
a douche, like
terrible towel camera. Like, that's what it's going to be.
Well, whatever video they got from the Bengals, it didn't hurt them, that's for sure.
No. Well, for the first quarter, they're like, let's try to beat them fair and square. Okay, we're down 10-7. Let's get that footage out. Do your job documentary. Next week it's let's see, they did the janitors, they did the scouts, what's next? I don't know, the ticket takers.
Maybe they were in Pittsburgh last night.
Yeah, not the guys inflating the balls. We can.
No, they're going to be out of the documentary. They won't be in it.
That will bring us to a segment that we're also bringing back, as well as Daniel. Another throwback to days of yore with Buffalo Bills pregame. It's time for a topic of discussion.
Yeah,
we haven't had those in a while. And if you would like to introduce a topic of discussion, feel free to post down below, and we'd like to answer a question of yours next week. But for this week, now that we are convinced ourselves we're in the playoffs, and almost for sure a 5th place position, depending on who you ask, who would you like to face? Who would you like that, the worst division winner to be?
Yeah. It sounds crazy, but I kind of want it to be Tennessee. We already beat them in Tennessee. Danny and I were there.
Handily.
It was without.
It was
Tannehill.
Without.
And they are much better with Tannehill.
Then they are a lot better with Tannehill, but I've never been afraid of Tannehill.
Oh, and he's
against Buffalo.
He does career worst against the Bills too.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
So the Tannehill factor, I'm still going to go in there and respect it. I think the Bills will too, and their kicking game is still horrible. I mean,
yeah.
So if I had to choose, because Houston's still a really good team, and we got Patrick Mahomes. Do you really want to play Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I don't
wild
think.
card. And depending on who you ask, I mean, there is a possibility you play the Patriots. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, part of me almost wants to play them over Houston or the Chiefs, depending on.
We'll have to see how we do against them, though. You know.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, if you have to choose between Mahomes, Watson, or Brady, or Tannehill,
that's where it gets interesting.
Tannehill's the choice for sure.
Yeah, I would say so.
Dan, anyone you'd like to play in particular besides Tennessee?
I think I'm going to have to go with Jared on that one. I mean, I think, like you said, Houston is much more talented than Tennessee is. You know, once Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, once they're clicking, it's pretty hard to stop them. The Titans are pretty well coached, but I think the Bills have a better shot against Tennessee. I don't think anyone wants to be going into Kansas City playing Patrick Mahomes in January. And New England is not as good as they have been, offensively at least, but I think I'm going to try to stay away from playing in New England in January for as long as possible.
That's a good point.
Let's pick the games. And what about playing New England in December? What's the score of the game this week?
Okay, a score for the game. We have this radio show that because I go to Fredonia and we have been doing a weekly show and just kind of discussing Bills. And almost every week I pick the Bills because I'm a bit of a homer sometimes, but I think I'm going to go with the Bills again this round. I think I'm going to say 23-16 Bills.
All right, Jared's on the record having the Bills lose out. So they've proven you wrong. They beat the Steelers.
So let me.
Are
Yes.
they still losing?
You had them losing to the Steelers?
He had them losing all 4 of the last games. But
no.
that's
All right.
Watch the old videos.
Anyway, we don't have to talk about that anymore, guys. The Bills are in the playoffs. Doesn't matter. So I went through like a whole scenario of how I was going to pick this game. I'll try to be quick though. 24-21 is the score. Now the question is, who's the winner?
It's literally the question.
I was like, if we beat Pittsburgh, and the Patriots don't look good against the Bengals, I'm going with the Bills for sure. We beat Pittsburgh, so how good did the Patriots do against the Bengals? They did pretty well. It's also the Bengals. I want to pick the Bills so bad. No, I'm going to go with the Patriots, 24-21. I apologize. I think the Patriots, honestly though, I think they rebounded a little bit, and they found themselves a little bit, because they've been struggling offensively big time, and then all of a sudden they started to click. So that's why I'm going with the Patriots, unfortunately.
All right. Well, you guys have both teams scoring a lot more points than I expect.
Okay.
The Bills, the last several games, have barely scored 20 points. Managed to eke out wins, of course, with a great defense. And the last time we played the Patriots, it was not a high-scoring affair. So I'm going to say the Bills win 13-11 in just a wild, maybe a safety. Who knows?
Oh, I want that 11 now. I don't care what happens. I just want 11.
And so that wraps up our show.
Yeah.
Wild card. There will be a wild. We're going to take off week 17.
So here's the situation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See?
So
we're all
we
learning together.
Yeah. So here's the deal. If we beat the Patriots, we'll be back next week because there's still divisions on the line. We got to talk about it. If it's going to be a Matt Barkley week, in a week from now, there's really nothing to talk about, guys. So.
He's so good looking, though.
So we will take off that week. There might be a podcast video we air of Randy just ogling Matt Barkley. We might put that up for you. But other than that, I think we'll take the holiday off. It's a holiday week.
Okay. All right. Well, at the very least, we'll see you in 2 weeks, but we'll probably see you next week.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Woo! Go Bills!
And by the way, this is Danny's 10-year anniversary from the very first time he was on Bills Pregame. Remember that?
I do remember that. That was, obviously it was 2009. The Bills were getting ready for a meaningless game against the Atlanta Falcons, and Brohm, I believe, was the starting quarterback, and the Bills lost that game 31-3, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, our big debate was Brohm versus Hamdan.
Oh, yeah.
That was our debate.
The good old days.